infamous toxic chemical dumping in Sungai Kim pollution incident. We're going to start our case study with its content. So we have divided our case study into 6 parts. So I will be doing the introduction, also the conclusion. And the second one will be the chronology, which will be presented by Hasif, Ms. Hasif. And then the third one, the OSHE effects and acts, will be presented by Muhammad Athir bin Muhammad Sidek. And the interview on victim and loss on it will be presented by Muhammad Amir Syahir bin Jamal Abana. The fifth one will be the ethical problem and techniques and the HIRARC. That one will be presented by Muhammad Taufik bin Malisa. And the last one, which will be the suggestion of solutions, that one will be presented by Mr. Ismail bin Husin. So as an introduction, this is a very famous incident where illegal chemical dumping has been dumped in Sungai Kim, Pasir Gudang, Johor Bahru. He starts with a news of canteen workers which has had trouble breathing from 2 nearby schools. So it's not really how do you say, it's not a natural occurrence. So these preceding complaints of this chemical smell were lodged by the canteen workers, and it was lodged to the authority of namely the authority is the hazmat team and the firefighters in Pasir Gudang, and the affected institution at last, the total affected institutions were 11 schools, and the institutions located nearby Sungai Kim are instructed to be closed down. The overall victims of the Sungai Kim incidents were 5,848 victims, which 951 of them are hospitalized and 25 of them were admitted to ICU. Next one, I'll pass the slide to Mr. Hasif for its chronology. Thank you.
Thank you, Hadirah. I'm going to present about the chronology of what's happened during the Sungai Kim pollution incidents. Sungai Kim is located in Pasir Gudang, and the unfortunate event which affecting thousands of lives in Pasir Gudang began at night of 6 March of 2019. On the said night, 2.43 ton of industrial chemical was dumped into Sungai Kim nearby SMK Pasir Putih and Sekolah Kebangsaan Pasir Putih. The chemical waste releasing benzene, acrolein, acrylonitrile, hydrogen chloride, methane, toluene, xylene, ethybenzene, and D-limonene. Okay. The effects start on 7 March of 2019. The first influx of victims, which is 103 students from both SMK Pasir Putih and SK Pasir Putih, was admitted due to breathing difficulty, cough, nausea, vomiting, and eye and throat irritation. Emergency response team was dispatched from Klinik Kesihatan Pasir Gudang, Klinik Kesihatan Masa, and Hospital Sultan Ismail. Hazmat team also called from Melaka to analyze the situation. The incident caused 2 schools to be closed down, and Dewan Serbaguna at Taman Pasir Putih and Dewan Taman Mawar was open for early treatment of the victims. On 8 March of 2019, next slide please. On 8 March of 2019, Hadirah, can you proceed to next slide? Okay, thank you. On 11 March of 2019, previous slide, please.
Yes.
We proceed to 11 March.
All right, sorry.
Okay. On 11 March of 2019, the second influx of mass victim was admitted into hospital. Additional of 106 students with similar symptoms, which is breathing difficulty, cough, nausea, vomiting, and eye and throat irritation, was admitted to the hospitals. It forced the authorities to close 2 schools and additional 2 schools. And from the early investigation, 3 suspects was arrested. On 12 March of 2019, another big influx of victims was admitted to the hospital, which is the number accumulated on that day accumulated to 260 students with similar symptoms, and the location had been stretched into Tanjung Putri Resort and Kota Masai. It forced the authorities to close another 9 schools. Next slide, please. Okay, thank you. By 13 March, the most victim was admitted to the hospital, which is 505 students with similar symptoms, and the location of the incidents already stretched up to Taman Pasir Puteh and Tanjung Putri, also Kota Masai. In immediate action was taken, which is to close down all 111 schools in Pasir Gudang districts and field hospitals with the help of ATM, Angkatan Tentera Malaysia, and Johor Military Division was erected in Stadium Pasir Gudang. This is for the temporary. This is temporary action was that's taken for the incidents. On 19 March, the cleaning of toxic waste ended, and pollutant level in the atmosphere was instructed to be monitored for 15 days. By this time, additional 9 suspects was arrested by the authorities. Okay. So, in summary, the incidents involve 5,039 victims around Pasir Gudang, from the cleaning activities done. 900 metric tons of polluted soil and sludge was removed from the river. 1,500 metric tons of polluted water was dispatched from the river. 1.5 kilometer stretch of Kim Kim River also cleaned by the authorities. The total cost for the cleaning, treatment, and mitigation plan for this incident accumulated up to 10 million ringgit, and the total suspect arrested is 12 people. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, this is the how the incidents happened. On March 6, the chemical was dumped, and then the infected area only around Sekolah Kebangsaan Kota Masai. By March 11, March 11 and March 12, the incidence area already become bigger, and it's come up to Tanjung Putri Resort, and by March 13, Sekolah Kebangsaan Pasir Puteh also affected. So the total area is very big. So it consists of almost all of Pasir Gudang area. That's all for the chronology. I'm going to pass for the next presenter.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to tell about OSHE effect and X. Okay, for the first point, DOS should examine toxic gas leak and liquid chemical to protect the environment. The Department of Environment has asked DOS and other government agencies to measure exposure in affected area using FTIR portable, GCMS portable, and other equipment. Dodge, Bomber, and DOE had FTIR portable, but Dodge and Chemistry Malaysia has GCMS only. These two major items cost RM1,000,000. Dodge should need more FTIR to improve the efficiency works. And for the point 2, the task force found CIMS incomplete because they not audit the chemical pen CHRA for unreported substance. CHRA reports contain more information or hazardous chemicals stored or used by chemical manufacturers than Dodge. Few companies have CHRA reports because Dodge audit them. Next slide. Okay. For point 3, Dodge shall audit all the hazardous chemical storage at the same chemical firm as reported in CIMS. DOS should audit all hazardous chemical storage at the same time. Chemical companies as reported in CIMS in order to determine if they reported all of their chemical as required by class regulation 2013 under OSHA 1994. For the point 4, CHRA reports should be deposited with the JKKP, not just when audited, because the task force analyzed Dodge Johor record to see if chemical industries store or use dangerous gases. Chemical management system list company chemical, CIMS, local chemical are not recorded in CIMS by chemical firm. Infrequent audit cause incomplete CIMS data according to the task force. Next slide. Okay, for the last point, prosecute chemical factories that are found to breach class regulation 2013 under OSHA 1994. According to reports, the defendant trial began on 3 December on 2019. A lorry driver from a used tire processing company and the three directors have been charged with dumping of plant waste using Mitsubishi lorry and palm oil semi-trailer. Environment Quality 1974, which carries a maximum 5 prison sentence and RM 500,000 fine. That's it from me. I'm going to pass to another presenter.
Okay, for the infography of this case, first, Kim Kim River pollution caused by unlawful chemical waste disposal. Second, toxic gas were emitted as a result of the illegal dumping, impacting 6,000 individuals and hospitalizing 2,775 persons. The majority of deaths were students from 110 schools located near the river, which later closed. Okay, next. For the interview of victim, one of the victims of this case is Muhammad Ashraf Abdul Halim. Said that the gas smell bothered him, but he was disappointed that the authorities did not take the prompt action. In July 28, they discovered the river had turned dark and had a bad odor. 1 August, according to DOE inspectors, the government inspectors, the pollution was likely caused by rubbish thrown from a non-industrial facility. In March 2019, toxic pollution caused approximately 4,000 individuals to become ill, as well as the temporary closure of 111 schools in Gudang, Pasir Gudang. Okay, next. Ethical issue. The cleanup alone cost 6.5 million. This does not include the official movement like staff to clean it. Then Yeo Bin Yin, Minister of Environment, Science, Technology and Climate Change, estimate that the cleaning operation will cost more over 10 million in total. Mrs. Yeo said the toxic waste dumping in Sungai Kim was wake up call for stronger enforcement and environmental rules. Law for this case study. This case under Section 34B of the Environmental Quality Act 1974, which carries a maximum punishment of 500,000 ringgit Malaysia and a possible sentence of 5 years in prison. They were accused of failing to conduct air quality monitoring and failing to notify the authorities about the production of scheduled waste. Sungai Kim as wake up for us to take better care of our environment, for the government to tighten enforcement and environmental law, and for the public to report suspicious activity. Okay.
Okay,
Continue to Taufik.
thanks, Amir. Next, we go to ethical problem technique and hierarchy solution for Sungai Kim pollution. In utilitarianism, we come with solution appealing manufacturer, right, or immediately temporarily suspended. Okay, by taking utilitarian way of sacrificing little for great benefit, the government can appealing manufacturer, right, or immediately temporarily suspended the manufacturing process for the manufacturer involved. It to prevent the chemical waste from continuing to be funneled into the Kim River until the pollution problem was resolved. Next, which solving duty ethic, which fine or compound and periodic inspection on chemical waste. The government can impose appropriate fine or compound on those who cause pollution river. Then toward reducing pollution, authorities such as the Department of the Environment can conduct periodic inspection on chemical waste from factory near the river. Then for the right ethic, we can enact law and regulation. By using right ethic, which is other have a responsibility to protect people fundamental right. The government should enact law and regulation to ensure the river sustainability, preventing pollution, and protecting the right of the environment and ecosystem, as well as the people in the surrounding area. Lastly, virtue ethic come with solution compensation, and the polluter should be held fully accountable. Residents who are part of the problem are compensated for the issue and damage that occur in their area. Then the parties involved should be held accountable and give full responsibility for reverse resensibility. Okay, next slide. Next slide. Highlight. Okay. We go to the hierarchy for solution problem technique. Hierarchy is a process for identifying, assessing, and controlling hazard in the workplace or environment. Okay, firstly, we come for hazard identification. The hazard identification was identified based on a case study of illegal toxic waste dumping in a Pasir Gudang, Malaysia. We can see the risk assessment caused by illegal toxic waste dumping is exposed population live near Sungai Kim. Water resource and aquatic life are affected, cause chronic health problem, and lastly, environment damage. For the risk control, The risk can be controlled by prevent the chemical waste from continuing to be funnel into the Kim River like ethylene manufacture, right? Temporarily suspended, or we immediately stop the process for the manufacturer. Then is a fine and compound. The government can impose appropriate fine or compound on those who cause pollution river. After that, we can periodic inspection to ensure the river sensibility, preventing pollution and protecting the right of the environment and ecosystem. Lastly, for the final step, the important step is restoring river. The government or the people around can rehabilitate river affected by chemical waste that be dangerous to life and environment. That's for me. Next, we go to Ismail.
So I'm going to suggestion of solution. First, the idea is use IoT to monitor river. The benefit of using the Internet of Things IoT for river monitoring are pretty straightforward. Install IoT sensor along the river and at intersection of major drains. Connect the sensor to a central system that reflects real-time data in a visual form. Enforcement agencies can then take action immediately once the sensor detects anomalies. However, it may be expensive to install sensor along the entire stretch of the river, so a better solution could be to install them at a strategic location. By the way, this way, it can help give quick alert before the water enter the reservoir. So next, the second is smart sungai and smart lokang. More can be done with the data collect via IoT solution for river monitoring. The data collect can be analyzed and used to create a map of key sites. With artificial intelligence technology, enforcement agency can have sufficient knowledge to predict and prevent future crises. Drones will complement the solution by making predict trips to hot zones identified by smart sungai, while autonomous and remote control clean-ups both can clean the river immediately after they receive a notification from smart sungai. Next. Lastly, a biotech solution to stop pollution at source. The EcoBall is made of enzymes that break down fat and nutrients into water and carbon dioxide within 3 days. The trial run was successful. The EcoBalls were able to digest 92.8% of the sludge in 4 days. It is a problem in Malaysia when you go to some township. You can smell the drain and they are infested with rats and cockroaches. You will never encounter this in countries like Singapore and Japan because their wastewater goes into sewage pipe instead of drains. The EcoBall is designed to sink the bottom of the river. This is effective because the sludge which come from industrial and commercial drain is always at the bottom. But the main problem is that when you don't clean up from the source, you don't really solve the problem because the pollutants are still flowing in at a regular basis. Next.
And for the conclusion, after several papers and studies that we have read and researched about this Sungai Kim Kim incident, we are able to determine and conclude that this happened because of this unauthorized tire recycling plant that has been allegedly dumping chemical waste along the river, which actually results in the contaminations of Sungai Kim Kim. The main problem of this incident was actually the top management, which lacks of etiquette and accountability of instructing these lorry drivers that dump toxic waste without considering the implication that it brings into the river. Also, over time, it will become this such tragedy, and this lacks of respect and responsibility for this environment, of course, and the living things. And they were also unconcerned, the top management were also unconcerned and undisturbed by the employees' welfare and state of environment. They don't care how the toxic were disposed, but they just wanted to make sure that it's gone just by their side. So that is why these unethical lorry drivers dumped it just in the river so that it's gone by the day. I think that is all from our group. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.